advice is where someone is talking to themselves in hindsight. Large part of what we do today is not related to my primary education. I think about the system that people curse the system a lot. The school is broken. I think what you do outside of it, that is really your defining factor.
If you cannot read 52 books in a year, you cannot compete with the whole world. Welcome Anurag ji to our channel Reality Unfiltered, whom I say could be the next pioneer of the book industry, the education industry, and how contents are taken towards learning for every upcoming teenager and youth.
Thank you so much for having me. Don't call me Anurag ji. I'm fairly young. Call me Anurag. I'm good with that. But thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for joining in. It's super happy and excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So you come from a financial education background and entering into the book segment. What were the skills that you developed to enter over here, or that you had to, refine on to build something over here?
Sure. I think that's a very direct and a very good question that to kick off things. I think one largely underrated skill is just good communication.
Right.
And I do not mean communication the way we perceive it, in the sense the speaking styles, I mean communication in writing. The ability to communicate yourself in writing is a very significant part as an entrepreneur, and that is one skill that obviously got started in terms of writing the book. Let's go back how I actually ended up writing the first book that I did. It was largely because of I did some research. I spent about 2.5-3 years on some research work, and I wanted to share that. And I actually started writing a research thesis or a report kind of, and that just went on long, and I thought, why not, let's make it a book. And that's how the first book happened. So in that duration, the only thing that outside obviously the content and all those things, which is not something that is a skill, that is, I feel, your expertise or whatever you've put more effort into. I feel, long story short, I feel that writing in a way that people understand, be it over email, be it over text, be it in form of a textbook or a book, and later on all these formats of content creation, all these stem back to good writing. So I feel one skill that has helped me in this is writing. And why finance helped? Because in my equity research time, I had to write reports. So that writing of those reports is where the first hand writing came into picture, and that's where the two connected.
Okay, yeah, I think that is a very it's the communication of writing is oftenly overseen and not given a weightage on, whereas it is one of the most important ways to document something and share and also understand it.
Not just that, I also feel personally for me, in my management style, how I work with my team, I prefer everything written, be it email, be it WhatsApp, but write and share, don't speak and share. The idea with that is it's more structured. People have put in more thoughts before sharing stuff, and you also share more thoughtful and something that's documented, and it's more effective in getting things done.
Correct. So before we move further, I really would like to congratulate you on your recent Shark Tank deal with Ritesh ji. And I've seen that episode. I love that energy. And you've mentioned that you have a passion towards getting people loving to read books again. So where did that passion come from?
See, I was someone who did not read a single book outside of academics till class 12th. So I finished my class 12th and I had not really read a book. Then I got admitted in a place called Finacle Investment Academy, and I remember Inder sir, who was my teacher there, or Pratik sir and Inder sir, but Inder sir majorly on this topic. I remember he gave me a week and he gave me a book. And he asked me, just don't do anything, just finish this book. Don't bother about 10 different things, just finish this book. And somehow I took it on myself, and I did not finish it in a week, but I did finish it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
That book was 5 Rules of Successful Stock Investing. And 2 weeks, it did not look like a mountain. After that. Before that, it did. After reading that first book, second book, okay, it was again difficult to start a book, fresh book mentally, but I finished it in a week. There came a
Wow.
point where we were sitting 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and about 60% of that time was spent in reading books or research reports. And I think that is one large year that defined my career in the field of finance, or that started my career in the field of finance with that rigor that went in for that 1.5 years. I read the longest of long books, and now my default has become, whenever there is a problem, be it an HR problem or be it product, be it marketing, all these over time I've learned or tried to learn through books or pre-recorded courses. Books majorly, because that is somewhere I feel a series of books. Maybe if you want to learn marketing, 4 or 5 books, one after another, and well thought of. The number does not matter. The books,
Right.
the order of the books, those matter. That is how I've learned majority of the skills that I've had to or needed to for work. You see, large part of what we do today is not related to my primary education.
Yeah.
So that is where I thought that even today, if there is a place where we are scared, or not scared, but we need to learn something, we go to generally books. And
Yes.
I profess this in my team that, okay, start reading whatever it is you can solve with books. And I strongly believe that you can learn almost anything and everything with books, and one is really missing out by not reading actively. The speed does not matter. Even if you're reading one book in 2 months, that's okay, but not doing that is something that I feel one is missing out on in that growth.
So even I'll share a personal example. I was someone who was not really of a reader, but I had someone told me that, meeting all the entrepreneurs, one told me that if you cannot read 52 books in a year, you cannot compete with the whole world. And that is when I started reading my first book, and that is when I started self-cursing myself that why didn't I read before?
Yeah.
The amount of knowledge and power it has, I think it is truly exceptional, and yeah, one does miss out.
So that, but 52 books a year, I still find it questionable. Idea is not, don't put a number to the number of books that you have read.
Yeah.
The depth matters more than the width. Reading maybe one book that's really helping you twice is sometimes a much better idea than reading 2 books that are okay-ish for you. So don't chase that number of 52, because a lot of our readers, though, they'll get intimidated by that number 52 and this and that. For a lot of our audience, I'll just say, forget the world, just finish one book. There is a large majority of people who have never read a book outside curriculum. Let's at least beat these people in terms of our competence by finishing that first book. That's it. After that, we'll think if we want to ever start a second book or not. Because invariably, I know a very large number of them will start their second book.
Yeah. So you've also mentioned in your Shark Tank pitch,
Sure.
that you had once the thought of changing or reworking on the education system,
Sure.
on how the content is delivered.
Sure.
Right. So a light on that.
So it's not a thought that we had, it's a thought that we have. And education is a large part of what we do. The medium may be books. We also do courses, schools. We plan to do live sessions. All these are different mediums of education. And some are more effective, some are less effective, some are effective in certain scenarios. The thought is pretty simple for us. We want to understand education really well, how people consume it at different places in their life cycle. A student consumes educational products or education. I'm using the word product deliberately. Student uses educational products differently as someone who's looking for a job, versus differently when someone already has a job, versus someone differently when someone has retired, versus someone differently who runs a business, versus someone who's self-employed. The motivation factors, the motivation reasons and levels, all these are fundamentally different. The form can change. It can be books, you can learn from courses. We have in fact identified some 37 forms of education.
Okay, wow.
Podcast being one of them.
Yeah.
Obviously, so that is fundamentally where we believe that the principles are more or less same. engagement, retention. So coming back to your more direct question, there is a book called Theory of Instructions. And I really follow that book because that's a book for teachers, or for a field called instructional design. How do you design instruction? How do you design a book? Design meaning what should be the first thing, second
structures
thing,
and
the
the
structure.
formatting and all.
Correct. So it has 9 parts to it. There is a model of what is a good education, and it has 9 parts to it. First part happens is when you get the attention of the reader.
Right.
Some reader or learner. Second part to that, I don't remember all 9 parts. I have it pasted on my workspace. The second part is, or in flow, the second thing is you sharing them, or you setting expectations. What is to follow after getting attention?
Right, that
Third thing,
transparency.
what is to happen in what are we trying to achieve, so that you know the direction of this. Third thing is retrieval of information that you already know.
Okay.
Only after these 3 things have been established. Fourth thing is the information that stimulated the new information. That is only one part, the new information that comes into it. Good education is which does the foundation work and then comes to good. That then comes to it.
Yeah.
What happens with things like so many different forms of education is they skip the first 3 and they only stimulate the information. Think of the difference between reading a book and reading a book summary. A
Correct.
book will stimulate or do all the tick boxes. The summary will only give you the new information that's there. So and then after that, obviously, it's the retrieval of it. Can you reuse it? Can you make it more relatable, the examples and all those things, and then assessment. And the last form of it is, can someone who's acquired that knowledge, can they transfer it? Meaning, if I have learned something from you, can I teach it to someone else? That is the last form of good instructional design.
Correct.
So all these steps have to go through almost every bit of education, and very often in multiple forms of content or multiple forms of education, these things are overlooked. And that is where we fundamentally take a look at education as a holistic space. Also, we look at education not just from a content point of view. I also take a look at it from a finance point of view. By design, by education, I'm a finance professional.
Yeah.
Education often is not only an instructional problem. That is a part of problem that still many are trying to solve for and doing a good job at it. Education in a lot of places is a more economic problem and also a social problem. Sometimes there are social barriers, sometimes there are economical barriers. We don't have products that are in line with these, but we are very actively looking at these 2 angles for education as well.
Correct.
For example, on our app, we did maths tuitions for free across the year. And a lot of students enrolled for it. The idea is we want to keep on doing that going forward, so that there is no fees or anything for it. We make money when people buy books at the end of it, or some people buy it, and large majority of them don't buy it from us. But idea is that is one form of education that is more accessible to people. I'm sure there will be others who will take a look at this and maybe do same or similar, where not everything is behind a paywall. We make for us, we run a business and we do make our economic benefits from the books that we sell. But everything else can be taken care from a more accessibility and all those perspectives. So yeah, we're taking a look at all these and trying to understand what people are doing and reach out to a large number of readers accordingly.
So I think very well, like you mentioned, that books are the major pillars of your economic, right? Now, comparing it to a normal self-development book, it is a little pricey, right? But yet you have done significantly well as a startup since last 4 to 5 years. So I think my direct question to you would be, what magic have you done in sales?
We want to go the extra mile. We will do that at our end. If we're just investing more for the quality. It's a big responsibility when a student is shelling out, or someone who's looking for a job is shelling out 1,500 rupees for a book. We see it very simple. We'll ship the best quality products, and we don't necessarily see ourselves as just books. People call us, it's a replacement for courses, and all goes on its own.
So the quality then becomes your main
The highest
USP.
quality. We very clear on this. Be the highest quality producer of books. In that, make the content very actionable, make the reading experience very illustrative, and third, have a layer of value adds. Value adds will be things like QR codes, podcast, author interviews, letters, a book
Bonuses kind of thing.
bonus. Correct. Something that lasts after reading the book as well.
Correct, true. The last question I would have for you is, what advices do you have to youngsters like me, to folks who are passionate and ambitious?
All youngsters. I'm also young. I'm fairly young, so don't put me. Or I'm probably I'm older than you for sure, but don't. The advice is pretty simple. See, I don't. I read this line. Advice is where someone is talking to themselves in hindsight.
Okay.
So I think I'll just use that. If I were to give myself some suggestions, maybe when 7-8 years back, I think here are some things that I think about. I think about the system that people curse the system a lot. The school is broken. I don't really think that. I think obviously it has its flaws, and because it has been designed and not changed in so many years, but it has its own merits, and large number of us are all products of it. I think what you do outside of it, that is really your defining factor, because school is trying to make 40 of you, or maybe more of you. Because all of them goes through same syllabus, same curriculum, and everything same, obviously different aptitude and all that. What you do outside that, I think a large part of that is what I call reading in my head. Even outside my office, when I was working in mutual fund and PMS, a large time would go in reading outside the office. That was not required at that time. I think learning is a large part that will occupy a very significant attention of yours. It allows, once you have confidence that you can learn something if it is required, it really opens up a lot of opportunities from you, because now you have the world to explore. I think that is one thing that I will say. Second thing that I will say is books is not something that we thought that we'll end up doing. So you never know what is your calling, or what is your expertise, or what expertise is not the right word, but what do you enjoy and what do you love. So exploring new things at a young age, I think that's a very, very helpful trick. And then after that, all the things that your grandparents tell you, if you follow that, I think large part you'll be good, because they generally tell you good things, is what I feel.
Thank you so much for your conversation, and I'm pretty sure that it's very interesting to have a podcast with someone who is relatively in the same age era compared to the seniors that I really cover. But thank you so much for your time, your learnings, your experiences, and the knowledge you give.
Thank you so much.